What's up, guys? Welcome to round 3 of the Hong Kong Battle Hardened 2025. Josh Law here with my good friend Nathan Crawford, and today we have a classic matchup, Nathan. I'm not sure if you played any Blitz back in the day, but with any of these heroes, but these are like two classics of the good old Blitz format.
I don't have anywhere close to as much experience as you in Blitz, but I'm very interested in this matchup because Rhinar doesn't want the opponent to block, and Ira really just leans on that ability to extract a lot of value off of blocking. So I'm really curious if the Ira player can find a very aggressive game plan to kind of counteract that, or is there not enough sideboard slots?
Yeah, that's actually a really, really interesting thing that you mentioned there. The players in this game, on the left, we have none other than Mr. Worldwide himself, Eugene Chung. He has been playing Rhinar a ton since the concept, since 2021. He actually won a Battle Hardened with Rhinar, playing Blitz. And on the right, we have Jacky Ho. This guy has been also playing since 2021. One of the original guys that I, played against dozens of times when I was still in Hong Kong, and he is a ninja expert. So this is going to be a good game, Nathan. This is two specialists fighting on, new ground in Classic Constructed. Just looking at the equipment, Nathan, some updates. There's no Snapdragons, there's no breaking scales, but now we have Tiger Stripe Shuko as well as the Pouncing Paws, from the Ira deck. Do you think those two equipment are just, strictly better than the Snapdragons and the breaking scales, or is it just, is there any lines that those two cards help enable?
Shuko blocks 2. That's the most important thing about that. And then the Pouncing Paws, I have seen. So back when I built my, it wasn't Ira, but it was actually Kodachi Fi. I would use Pouncing Paws to create a third chain link to turn on, and I added 1 breaking point into the deck, so I could actually turn it on with just the equipment. So maybe there's like 1 rupture card in it, or it could also just be there is a copy of like Mauling Key that is like a 1 for 5 that fits the curve of Kodachi 1 for 5. And then it just turns on the effect of, if it hits, deal an extra damage. Right. So it's probably not super significant, but it's also a very good way to split out the damage into more ones. You can go Kodachi, Crouching Tiger, Kodachi to go 1/1/1 instead of 1/2 if it's toward the end of the game. So there's a lot of implications to a very simple piece of equipment there.
Yep. And over on the other side, we see Eugene running the Savage Sash. I think this is the predominant card used in the chess slot these days. Reinhardt could take advantage of, he just needs like 1 really good Blood Rush Bellow turn to really chunk the Ira down. Also, the Scowling Fleshbag. This is a card that did not exist, back in the Blitz days when Ira was still legal. Scowling Fleshbag is going to, kind of disincentivize the Ira player from, trying to go for a 4 or 5 card hand. But the thing is, they might be forced into a 4 or 5 card hand depending on how Reinhardt's game lines up. So we've seen a little bit of jockeying back and forth here, not too much damage applied. For some reason, Eugene is using a Lexi playmat, so that's kind of throwing me off a little. I'm like, oh, he has 2 arsenal slots. But looks like this turn is just going to be a swing big coming in for 8. The Quicken token, not going to really matter much unless Ira has like an E-strike or, even that, I don't even know if it could block enough.
It could, if he had the intentions of like full blocking, and then I don't know if he runs Sigil, maybe play a Sigil, and then like you could like, well, now it definitely doesn't matter.
Now it definitely doesn't matter. Yep, there goes the looking for scrap into the bin there. Yeah, I remember Eugene saying that he did enjoy playing Blue Pummel for this exact reason. Now, the thing is, without Tunic, that play is kind of face up, right? Because
I think that was a red pummel, right?
Was it a red pummel? That could have been a. I think he was taking 2 damage, and then I'm not sure. I gotta.
Oh right, yeah, he did block 2 cards. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So the I mean, it's a little bit face up right without Tunic that the Reinhardt player has some. He's not IPing himself for nothing there. We did see Eugene draw a Blood Rush Bellow, so I think he would be quite happy just blocking and setting the Blood Rush Bellow into the arsenal. This weakest link could potentially be disruptive if he drew like a Pulping, you know, Wild Ride, those type of cards. But I think it's actually quite fine to give the Ira player, full tempo, because let's say they draw 3 blues and 1 red, or even 4 blues. Like their damage output is actually not going to be too high. Looks like Eugene going to block with the Ripple Away and sink below, and I think he's just going to claw and arsenal the Blood Rush Bella, and looks like that is the exact play. And back in the day, Reinhardt could be built several different ways, but from talking with Eugene, he does prefer to have this is not the hand you want to draw with a Blood Rush Bell in your arsenal. Double D reacts, a Command and Conquer that doesn't even get the bonus from Blood Rush Bellow, and then another Blood Rush Bellow. So I think he's just going to block and maybe pitch the Blood Rush Bellow for the second cycle. It does look like Jacky's deck is quite large, so yeah, comes in.
I like a block 8 here and then send to CNC. Just keep it simple, shrink the hand size, and then I mean, then set up for that what you hope will be. And that's always been the problem for Rhinar, right? Is you have to mix a lot of ratios. You have to be defensive because you can't really, you don't have the value to really handle aggressive game plans. So you do have to get some of your value on defense, which requires D reacts, and then you need a lot of yellow cards because those are actually 6s, and you can't fit that many blues. So there's a lot of ratios. And the one thing that I've found out is with Rhinar, it's the brute that requires the absolute most patience with that Blood Rush Bellow.
Yeah, we always kind of joke that brute is the unga bunga go class because brutes don't think about things, but the brute class is actually quite deep, and all the WTR heroes can be played in a patient manner. Did he draw another? He just sank into another Blood Rush Bellow?
I think he took the little bit of the greedier line and he sunk away the Fate Foreseen. The problem is he literally just can't. Now, this isn't. He did take 3 value for absolutely no reason. However, we have the potential of a double Blood Rush Bellow if the hand supports it.
Yep. He'll have to play the one from hand first. I mean, he's running Sync Fate and Pummel, so he could really draw a hand that has to take a risk. He might even have to roll Scabskins. I'm sure Eugene has played enough of Reinhardt that he can, analyze the EV, the game state, and all that. So, Wax on. Oh, looks like he drew several D reacts or non-blocking cards, or cards that don't block very well. So,
Josh, there's so many D reacts in the format right now where I think over this past weekend, I CNC'd probably 3 different times where the opponent had at least 3 D reacts in hand. And they would block some because they didn't have enough armor and it blew up the arsenal anyway. That and Weakest Link are just really overperforming in this meta, in my opinion.
It's a reason their prices are creeping up and up and up. This hand does not look like it supports a double Blood Rush Bellow. We have a Reckless Swing. I believe we saw a Sand Sketched plan as well. So I'm not sure how Eugene is gonna navigate this hand. And this is
I thought that was a Recurrent, but I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. Maybe he had several. Maybe he has all 3 of them. I'm not sure. Looks like Scabskin's gonna jump in front of this Harmonized Kodachi because there is a mask threat this turn. Torrent of Tempo, one of the best third chain link cards if they allow the first and second to hit, because with the on hit go again and the mass trigger, it's really demanding either armor or a card block plus armor. I think it's likely that Eugene is just gonna kind of fire this hand off, but I mean, you can't even play the reckless swing out because there's you could just discard your Blood Rush Mallow, so kind of a tricky spot. But this is where like being a specialist really helps. Is okay, you get into these situations 1 out of 300 games where you draw this really really awkward hand. An inexperienced
he's
runner
going
player,
for it.
Okay, looks like he's gonna block.
Yep.
Okay, looks like we're gonna have a double Blood Rush Mallow turn probably. But yeah, like maybe an inexperienced runner player has not seen the situation, but Eugene having such a okay, looks like he's just gonna hold it for next turn. Interesting.
Being patient.
Okay. Being patient. Even has the quicken token like a good Rhinar should. Presumably.
And I really like that play because Ira's not gonna put you on too big of a clock, right? Like obviously it's value negative, right? You don't ever want to intentionally IP yourself like a ton. It's not a very proactive strategy. However, if there was ever a deck that it's okay to do it against, it's one that's designed around always blocking with 2 cards.
Yep. Kodachi for 1, and I presume a Kodachi for 2. We didn't get a good look at the hand. Okay, so this is quite annoying. Now if the hand is close to good, we could see a block with. Well, this is for 7, so he'd have to give up the Scowling for basically Arcanite Skullcap value.
Yeah.
And okay, so
he does have the Beast Within though, so he'll get the value.
Guaranteed discard. Okay, so he's basically getting that card back that he blocked with. Agile Windup. Okay, I mean that's probably a yellow version. Yep,
usually yellow.
Yep,
yeah,
yellow Agile Windup. Gonna intimidate, and this is the first intimidate of the game, and we're gonna really see the power of intimidate this turn, I believe, because we're gonna see a second Blood Rush Bellow. So, I mean, generally Ira wants to block, and if they, okay, here we go. Double Blood Rush. I didn't quite see what he drew.
He just doesn't want to hit a blue. He wants to keep as many resources in his hand as possible. Although it may not be as big of a concern as it may be, because we do have the sash sitting over there. So,
yeah, and the core of this turn is going to be double claw, some source of go again into a finishing attack if he can. And each of these claws is going to come in for 7. So this turn could deal like... If the Ira ends up in single digits this turn, I would not be surprised. We've got a Wax On and a Flick Flack. Okay, that's a really, really good D-React to have, assuming that's a combo card in hand.
There's only one card left, and he might be able to intimidate it before he attacks the second claw, depending on what's in the hand.
Yep. Now, Eugene thinking here, I think he's tempted to roll Scab Skins. Maybe.
He has a Savage Feast in his hand. I think he has to. It's scary because you're literally, I don't want to say putting the game on it, but you
kind of are.
Pretty close to do it. Yeah. But it's just too much value, right? Because
he's got
claw into it. Claw into a 6 here is like it's just not quite enough to win this win this value. But to get go again and draw another card and intimidate.
Yep. I think you have to go value. For it. Yep. If this was Dennis, good old famous Dennis, we would already be seeing the cup on the table. And
we'd already be on the next turn.
All right, here we go. Yeah, we'd already be on the next turn. So Scab Skins, here we go. This is a huge roll. Oh, that looks like it's going to be 1. Okay, it's a 2. All right, nothing happens. But I think the Ira player has a very good sense of... And that one is going to be blocking for an extra 2. Of course, spinning wheel kick, a combo card with only 2 block. So that's a little bit awkward.
He really needs to fire off a last attack.
Yes, and because he's thinking here, is he thinking about the Savage Sash? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when a specialist of a class takes time to think about something, that normally indicates that they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That is generally what that means. And so I presume he has a red, so he's just going to fire off the 2 cost. So pitching the Beast Within kind of told us everything about this. These 3 attacks coming at the end. Not having a blue, is just part of the game. Although Reinhardt does typically run closer to 20-20-20 split, so you really don't know what you're gonna get.
Now, if he does have a swing big here for 12, then it's not the worst position to be in. You take the Ira down to somewhere around 13 if they decide to not block with armor, and then you just wait for that triple intimidate hand. It doesn't have to be another Blood Rush Bellow, but just something else, and you can still keep playing that slow game because they're not going to put too much pressure on you, and then this isn't bad either.
Yeah, that's a relatively new card printed. And so he was thinking about which one to send. Looks like is that Splatter Skull? I believe that's the name of the card.
Yeah, and he couldn't have sent the Savage Feast because it does require
an extra card. Yep.
Mm.
So I'm wondering what Eugene was thinking about there. Was he thinking about? There's no world where you arsenal one of these, right? So it's like it's only
because you're getting plus. Yeah, you're getting plus 4 on it. So it basically just flips it over and discards it due to the effect, which discarding the D-Rack is pretty decent.
Yep, it is. Okay, but Eugene's last Blood Rush Bellow is in the bottom of the deck, so he's gonna have to play, somewhat fair and balanced Flesh and Blood. Unless he plays a Sand Sketch plan to kind of, basically roll the dice again and see if he could draw earlier. But, with all these D-Reacts and this life lead, I think Eugene is perfectly happy just to play a little bit of a slower game, kind of disrupt the Ira's defenses, disrupt the Ira's defensive plan. And so, this is a good way to do it. Wild Ride, really, really excellent, because not only is it going to get an Intimidate with another card in hand, we're going to see at least a Claw. So, this could be. Well, looks like the Ira is very happy to just lay all those cards.
The last card in hand's another Wild Ride. I would love to just arsenal it and wait for that bigger turn, because once again, you don't want to play into that mid-range trap against Ira where you kind of trade back and forth. You really just want to take a big turn or no turn and nowhere in between.
Yep. This weekend I played against several Iras, and I think my pen lost half of its ink.
Oh yeah, you have to go on the second life pad. Easy.
Yep. And got you for 2, and we got a big opening now. And you said setting up the Wild Ride was important, and we're seeing the immediate payoff right here. Ira not putting a lot of pressure on, and let's see if this Wild Ride can take us on a little bit of a ride for a big turn. All right. Oh no!
Oh no!
I think he drew the pummel as well. That's
I think he did.
Yeah, that's else he would have blocked maybe the Kadachi or something in this last turn.
Which is unfortunate because he could have even played it. He probably wouldn't have, because Ira runs a lot of D-Racks, and I don't think you get her in this spot. But
That's unfortunate.
At least at least cost double claw,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And then maybe even a sin packing at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what this turn would have been. It would have
Yep.
been wild ride, claw, and a sin packing, which is
Yep.
really, really strong.
Yep.
That's really unfortunate.
Yep. Eugene just gonna have to grit his teeth and move to the next turn. Drew double Warmonger's Diplomacy. So, I mean that's a card that's relevant in metagame, but awful against Ira. And here we go. One of those famous bricky Ira turns. 1/2/1 odd hit, draw a card, but I already have an arsenal. And most Iras are not running Sigil of Solace, so there's really no risk. Back in the Blitz days, there was a little bit of risk that the Ira would draw into a Sigil, play the Sigil, and you'd be sad. But I think if Eugene likes his hand, which he may not because there's double Warmonger's Diplomacy in his hand, there's nothing else coming, Eugene.
My favorite thing to do with Ira is to actually stay off of an arsenal. That way, people will. The answer is still usually to disrespect mass, because if they draw like a
5-card hand rolling the dice. Oh no!
No, you not like this. But if there was ever a deck to do it against,
yes. If there's ever a deck,
it's this one.
Now we did see the Ira having the E-Strike.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah,
that is very unfortunate.
Now the Ira moving this quickly could be a good or bad thing. Looks like. So in general, if the Ira's moving this quickly, I would say that's a bad thing. But okay, looks like it's just an E-Strike for 7. Okay. All right, gonna block with the Sed Packing and the Warmonger's Diplomacy and the Apex Mudbreaker. Gonna get a Might token just like KO does. And, moving on. I mean, so we've seen several things go poorly for Eugene, but, double Blunder Spell is still giving him the life lead. However, this type of, sending Vanilla 6 here, or 7, because of the Might, is really playing into the Ira's strategy, but I don't think the hand looks that great. Is that a Command and Conquer? Okay, so he has a Command and Conquer, but going to have to use the Tunic to fire it off. Oh, never mind. He had a card Intimidated. Okay, or the not Intimidated, the Send Packing. Okay, so we're gonna get a Kodachi into a CNC Arsenal, a Sink Below. We drew another Pummel. Now, we've seen enough Pummels that I'm pretty convinced Eugene is running yellow and blue Pummels. So this may explain some of his bad beat stories, Nathan.
I'm 90% sure that he's running more non-6s than 6s. With the D-Reacts, the Warmongers, the Pummels, the Sand Sketch Plans, the Bellows. That's a lot of non-6s.
Yeah. I mean, that play style or deck building choice does create more variance in the gameplay. But, that could be good, could be bad. So this coming in for 7 is a little bit annoying. Eugene does still have the Scab Skins if he really wants to 2-card block this, but I think we're actually probably going to see a 3-card block. There's really no good way to utilize Pummel on a small hand, especially without Tunic. The Iris still has all of her equipment up, so I actually think at the moment Jacky's probably winning. Now, not having Savage Stash, not having the helmet either, like, all right, looks like we're gonna block for 8. Gonna cover all that up. Poke back with Claw, or not. Just gonna hold the Sink Below. All right. Okay, so we got another Swing Big and a I'm not sure what that is, but looks okay. We got a Sensor Mullen Key. You called that. Also a Torrent of Tempo. Now, the thing is, he can't. He drew all reds. So another famous Iron Brick hand. So which of these are you sending? So Eugene's saying, I do not care. And looks like Tunic, Torrent of Tempo. Gonna try to draw. Oh, it draws anything is gonna be able to play out the censor.
Right.
So little does Eugene know that this could be potentially quite bad. Now,
I mean, this is an easy block for Eugene, right? Sink blow plus the scabbies.
Yeah, I think that's the play. Maybe he's thinking about what to sink. If you were Jacky in his position, which card would you call with censor? Now that you've seen two Marshmallows.
Yeah, you wouldn't call Bellow.
Now, I think that was a little bit of a tell there, checking the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I would probably call is either Pulping or Wild Ride, whichever one I'd seen less of, or I wasn't ready for. If I had to direct an Arsenal, I wouldn't call Pulping, I'd call Wild Ride.
Eugene, roll the dice off the table there. Okay, there we go. 4.
All right, we got 2.
All right, we got 2 action points. And there's the Pulping. Because I think he sniffed out the D-React of the Arsenal. And Eugene's going to be rewarded for this. This is one of those plays that I think only a experienced Rhinar player would kind of make this. I think a lot of Rhinars would just kind of rip the Pulping and not go for the Scab Skins Pulping. Looks like the E-Strike plus the Sink. Gonna deny the Go Again. But that's okay. Eugene has Go Again at home. This Claw has Go Again because he has discarded a 6-power card. Gonna take 3. And just Arsenal. Alright. Okay. Back over to Ira. I think that's a CNC in hand. Or, no. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Okay, pitching a back heel kick. And I believe it's a little bit hard to see. Guess we'll kind of wait and see. Kadachi.
Should be the censor from last turn, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Could be censor sink below, looks like. Now, again, looks like Eugene happy to continue. Not blocking. And here comes the censor. Now, we don't have the game audio, but they might write it down on a piece of paper. It's going to take 5. Jacky's going to take a look at the graveyard. And there's a Wild Ride, 2 Wild Rides. I think he's seen 2 Pulpings as well. So I think you probably...
I would say Wild Ride.
Yeah.
That would be my... unless I knew he was at his pitch stack.
Yep. All right. A blocking hand drawn from Ira. Unless wants to play out an E-Strike. But we're getting to the end game where some different factors come into play. So we have the Kadachi lock from the Ira. We also have the pouncing paws from Ira. But we also have the reckless swing and the whole you die to barraging beatdown plus dominate from Rhinar. So the end game here is actually kind of tricky. It's not a traditional end game.
So
here we go.
Really good play.
That Savage Feast, very good. You see how Eugene threw his cards down? Both of these are successes. Yep.
Oh, what if he called Wild Ride and he just discarded it? That would be that'd be too good.
That'd be too good. You know, you got a luck evens out overall, right? I mean, he was unlucky a little bit, and now he got lucky. He discarded the card that he couldn't even play. So, Savage Feast, an OG card from Welcome to Wraith. In fact, that could even be an alpha Savage Feast. And looks like it's time to give up some armor and an E-Strike to not take any damage. And here's another swing big. and it's coming in for 8. And I believe, well, we know that the Ira player has another E-Strike in hand, so there could be a little bit of temptation to take this and, try to send back an E-Strike, hope that Eugene goes down to 3, and kind of play from there. Ira, in general, does prefer you to... taking 1, not getting the... Not wanting to give up the tunic for a quicken token, which is an interesting choice. There's a pummel. There's another pummel. A CNC. Uh-oh. Looks like we're not blocking this turn, I think. Gonna end the game, or set up an end game, just like Guardians do. Spinning wheel kick, threatening a mask of momentum trigger. No clean block for this. I believe spinning wheel kick comes in for 4. So, quite annoying. Pummel, Beast Within, Command and Conquer.
Is it annoying? It just gives the CNC a target.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Nathan.
It's annoying if he can play it, but
Yeah.
chances are unlikely.
Yeah, it would have to be... I mean, all the zero-cost combo cards, that's just taking extra damage.
I would love for Eugene to roll Scabbies.
Yeah.
To deter the pummel.
Yeah.
That would just...
We've seen that would be once, if I recall
that would be
correctly.
so beautiful.
Yeah, that reminds me of
Scabbies.
like, Nats or Battle Hardened. I think Dennis did that, if I recall correctly.
Oh, it'd be
he didn't even trigger the Mask of Momentum.
Yeah, he drew. He drew and put it on
he did. Okay, my bad.
Oh, there's some D-reacts.
Oh.
Roll Scabbies,
The
Eugene.
Ira already getting 2 cards ready to block whatever's coming. It's like, these 2 blues, we don't need them.
No, roll.
Okay.
No.
Just going for it.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, do you overblock this? I think you do.
Of course you do.
Yeah. I mean, there's no... Yeah, now the question is... Okay, it looks like blocking for 9. So, do you still play out the bubble, or do you keep a hand with 2 bubbles?
I think you have to. I think you have to rip it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to draw 2 random cards.
I also agree, at this life total, I think Eugene should have rolled Scab Skins. The mind game play here is very important.
Because this is just too obvious,
It's too obvious. It's too obvious. Yep. Jacky not going to fall for it. And Eugene in a lot of danger now. Because he gets to keep... Now, that is that's all you got. So, likely not going to go 3 chain links wide. I think he has
Still gets a card no matter what.
Uh-oh.
Here's what I'm talking about. The 1/1/1.
Yep. Even worse. Okay, a sensor that's never going to hit. We got a reckless swing, but that's definitely not where you want to be. And we're in Kodachi lock range now. Now, I also think we're getting close to turn 15 where we're going to start seeing second cycle. And there's another one. Uh-oh. Just going to discard a Ripple away, and this game should end very shortly. All his cards do block, but yeah. He may be able to survive one more turn, but he's going to be in the blender. And nope. The weakest link going to end the game, and Jacky's going to get this one. Pretty well played from both players. I think Eugene got a little bit... There's the Blood Rush Belvedere on the top there. I think Eugene got a little bit unlucky here and there. But I think, overall, the luck roughly evened out there. Any thoughts on the game, Nathan?
I think that he did draw some very unfortunate hands. He had to hang on to that Blood Rush Bellow for 2 turns in a row, taking the IP penalty, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, rolling 2 1s.
Those dice are fired.
Yeah, he did. He did roll 2 4s, I believe, but they were much less impactful than the ones.
Yes.
And then also he discarded the pummel and the wild ride that he drew off the top.
On a
So
5-card hand, yeah. That's,
yeah, so that I think if any one of those kind of don't happen, especially discarding the pummel and the wild ride, then
Yep.
maybe it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But Rhinar, when you have that many non-6s, it's kind of a kind of what you sign up for.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to cast the next game for you guys. Let's get to it. All right, guys. Welcome back to coverage of the Hong Kong Battle Hardened 2025. Today, or in this round, we got Shing Tsang piloting New Alluring Desire. And we have Roderick piloting good old Dorinthea Ironsong. Nathan, I am extremely, extremely excited for this matchup.
I would have no idea why.
Well, I love Shing and I love Dorinthea, and I
there you go.
I know Roderick; he's a great guy too. So this is a matchup that well, we're gonna have to see what build Roderick's on. I presume he's on Dawnblade because, as far as I know, everybody in Hong Kong plays Dawnblade Dory. But on the other side, we also have to see what type of build Shing is on. Now, I did the A to Z episode with Shing. I think I talked a little bit about the CYB. I think he prefers not to play with CYB. He prefers, having the mix up of going wide, using mask, or going up instead of having 4 choices. He has 3 choices, but a little bit more consistency. So we'll see how this game goes. Okay, so a little bit. I don't know if it's surprising or not, but we have a Courage of Bladehold for a Dorinthea player. Generally, this indicates a extremely aggressive playstyle. Now, that can work against New. However, if the threat level of your turn is not very high, the new player draws good disruption, they are not going to block, and then they're going to rip your next turn apart, and the Dawnblade counter is going to fall off. So we're really going to need to see kind of a blowout, in my opinion. We're going to need to see the Dorinthea player really get Shing, either with like a Twinning Blade play or something like that. So this is interesting. A Supremacy on turn 0. Generally, this is a card you want to keep around. Now, Shing immediately blocking for 6. This tells me he has a D-React in hand. Yeah. And, yeah. And, okay, double Ironsong response. Now, I believe that looks like that may not be a blue. Let's see. So this was a block for 9. This was an attack for... That's a yellow Ironsong response.
Yep.
Holy crap. Well, what year is it, Nathan? 2023?
Feels like it.
Wow. Okay.
It's a good turn, though, because there's a G left in hand.
Okay, so hold on. This was a turn 0 Bolter's Break. Roderick is not messing around here.
I mean,
wow.
You're getting 6 value, probably.
Or you're getting all the armor. Like,
right.
Literally
I don't hate it.
A 3 block plus all the armor. Or the
I like it.
Wow.
You start with a counter and yeah, I like it. I like
it as well. I like it as well.
My favorite thing about the Hong Kong players is that the zones on the maps are just suggestions. They're just suggestions.
Yeah, I remember I was at the Pro Tour. I was playing in a box just like Roderick does. And the judge was like, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, ah. I even told the judge, like, I learned how to play like this because I put my phone right above the Crown of Providence when I was playing in the webcam days. And it's like a habit from years ago. I've started to slowly change, but yeah.
I'll never forget casting Kelvin Law's match.
Yeah.
And he was playing his cards on his opponent's mat. I was losing it.
That is a cultural thing in Hong Kong. It's like the space in Hong Kong kind of restricted, so it's like we don't have a large table. Like this table's not that wide. That's why their playmats are overlapping slightly here. Speaking
Right.
of playmats, if you don't know how rare Shig's playmat is, I'll let you know right now. That is a Slingshot Underground playmat from 2018 or 2019. So this was like the very first event where they like showcased Flesh and Blood, and this was the playmat that was given. That's literally the very first playmat that was ever printed. So, uh, so okay. I mean, we've been rambling for a little bit, and Shing has yet to make a decision, which I think is just going to inspire a ton of confidence in our Dorinthea player. Scale Peeler going to be the opening of choice. Now, this is one of the most annoying things for Dorinthea because she likes to block breakpoints with her armor. She also likes to throw her armor at annoying things. And oh my, okay. All right, saying, hey, I'm not messing with that. Who cares? Piercing, losing a Valiant Crown, I don't care. Now I can block your...
Got places to be.
Yeah, I got places to be, and if you throw something that, like, leave no witnesses, you know what else is... I'm just going to block with my other two equipment, so... Well... Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the power of Crown of Providence with Steelblade Supremacy. Persuasive Prognosis. Now,
why not?
the
Let's
thing
throw
is,
in another piece.
yeah, just throw armor in front of it. I mean, there's only one. I think there's only reds. Oh, there's reds and yellows in the graveyard. So, yeah. Okay, gonna transcend, gonna mask, and I think with 4 cards that Roderick has sort of handpicked, he is not going to care, especially with Courage of Bladehold. So I don't think he's going to use Courage of Bladehold because obviously he would have blocked with that instead of the Brave Forge Bracers. I actually think he should have blocked with the Courage of Bladehold instead of the Bracers, because there's a chance you need it next turn and you won't have a chance to block with it. So him discarding or banishing a Puncture, well, what does that mean? That means he has another pump probably. So is this a threat turn or is this a conserve the counter turn? So let's find out which one that is.
I mean, the crowning the arsenal away isn't actually indicative of any information because it was a random draw of the supremacy. So it could have just been a blue, and he wanted to get rid of it and get an actual card that he could use. So unfortunately, Shing's kind of going off of no information other than what he got rid of off the map.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well, so let me tell you about Dorinthea card evaluation. So in general, if she's in the picture, it's a good card. So Glistening Steelblade into Steelblade Supremacy into swing. Now I think Shing could get a little bit of information here that there's no Twinning Blade, else the Courage of Bladehold would have been probably blocked with.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like just Arsenal Pass. Shing did block with 3 cards. Going to play a Leave No Witnesses, holding a card back for a rainy day. So a little bit of information that Roderick can glean here is that is not a D-React in Shing's hand. Else he would have blocked in a completely different manner. Looks like Out for Blood plus Bracers going to be the block of choice. And with the Tunic not up, I don't think we're going to see an Arousing Wave. He hasn't blocked with it either, so. All right. And Sync Codex, Cosmic Awakening. And here we go. Spoils War into Dawnblade 5.
Seen this play too many times. Too many times.
Just like the good old days. In fact, this might have been my introduction to Shing. I still remember the card shop we went to called Hilltop. And he was... I played a Dory versus Viscera game against him, and he almost beat me. And this was like in April after I'd been playing for a long time. And then I was like, oh, I've like haven't met him. And I was like, oh, are you new to the game? He's like, yeah, I've only been playing like 4 or 5 games. I was like, what? First of all, you're taking Viscerai back then. Like, it was Dory favored. Dory was the queen of blitz. Viscerai was just, you play it for fun. And I was like, okay, this guy has a lot of natural talent. And, all right, gonna even block for 5. Gonna be met with a Blade Flurry. A very strong card if the opponent does not have a D-React. Shing, though, has a D-React. And unless this is another pump, in particular a +3 pump, this is not going to get through. Looks like Arsenal pass from our Dorinthea player.
Now, Shing has one of the best 2-card hands while Tunic Counter is on 3.
Yep.
Probably in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Bonds of Agony and Justinic.
Yep.
Because the Justinic will take the Bonds of Agony up to 8, and then you can Tunic Counter and get the Fang Strike, put it on it for 9.
Mm-hmm.
Off of 2 cards, and literally rip their hand apart.
Yep.
Off of 2 cards. So pretty good. It does involve 2 pieces of equipment. It's not the freest thing, but it's just a very, very, very strong play.
Yep. Now, I believe Shing did block with a Codex of Frailty. So, from the Dorinthea's perspective, this is
It was a Cosmic, right? Cosmic Awakening?
Oh, did he block with a Cosmic last turn?
Yeah, it was Cosmic Armor and then the Sync, right?
Okay, so okay. So maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. Now this is a tough position. So the longer that Roderick thinks about it, the more sure Shing can be that there is no snag in the hand. Else this is the easiest. Throw the Courage Blade, hold in front of it, and move on. Got a Singing Steel Blade in hand, Warrior's Valor, and Overpower. Good old WTR cards. Singing Steel Blade, not the greatest without the right threat level. And gonna transcend from Arsenal and mask away a card. And
this is even better because then you can hold him prisoner with the Justinic. You don't even have to expose it.
Yep. Looks like he's gonna go for it.
This is beautiful. Yeah, this is beautiful. You just do that, it turns it on, and like, do you have a D-React? No, cool. I'm good. I'll just keep the Justinic.
Yep. Now, this is going to cause the Bonds of Agony to go to 5, I believe. Oh, no, 4, because he's using the legs. Okay. Sure.
No, he's using arms. Yep.
Oh, using the arms. Oh, he's got the legs in the arm slot.
They're just suggestions, Josh.
All right. 2 cards Shing should be extremely familiar with. Overpowered Warrior's Valor. Although Warrior hasn't been super meta, so maybe he forgot. Of course not.
Here, I think you definitely rip the Warrior's Valor because you know they're going to have the red ones, and you just take the red ones out of the deck.
Interesting that he went for the Overpower.
I mean, stripping all the reacts, and if he is on the juicy reds, then I mean that does take a lot of the surprise threat density out of it. I actually don't hate that decision.
All right, so we're going to look through the deck. This looks pretty standard. So if I was Shing, I'd be checking for a couple things. I'd be checking for, does he have any D-Reacts? How many stags are there? Also, I would be checking for Emboldened Blades, the Twinning Blade count. Other than that, everything is, pretty standard. Looks like there's 2 Emboldened Blades as well. So, there's some threat there. I did not see a lot of D-Reacts, Nathan, in that 60.
No.
So, I mean, this is one of the most important on hits that's not... the better you are, the better that, Bonds of Agony being able to look at the deck actually gets. So
right.
And here we go. Codex. Gonna find a leave no witnesses. Now, the good thing is that the Dorinthea doesn't really have... I mean, it already has an arsenal. Also doesn't run a lot of attack actions. And I just give up the card plus the armor probably. And just pass
And
the
then
turn.
you're out. You're out of
Yeah.
armor. And I mean, you got one block in emergency for the courage. But usually you want to use that in a little different way.
Mm-hmm. I like how the Crown of Providence sleeve. The Crown of Providence is in a Crown of Providence sleeve. I was like, does he?
I mean,
No, he doesn't
why
have that
not?
anymore. All right. So from the Dorinthea's perspective, gonna have to hope for a little bit of a brick on the other side. Doesn't look like a brick to me though. Now, although the Dorinthea player has higher life, this game I think is been going quite well for Shing.
I definitely agree. I think that other than that first turn, where he got hard punished for having the chi in the hand, I think he's found a way to really just kind of pull it back in and kind of just stabilize a little bit.
Yep. And here lies the problem of playing Japanese cards not named Blade Flurry. You have to explain to your opponent everything. See, I could run Japanese Blade Flurries because if they ask, what does that do? I'll be like, +2 to this thing, +2 to the next thing. Goodbye, full art twinning blade. Hello, hand. None of these are great to rip. I do like the E-Pot in this Dory deck, by the way. This is a very old school inclusion. So Iron Song Determination is obviously a super rare. Glistening is a majestic, right? So that's he's kind of running out of copies of those. Although the glistening, seeing the twinning blade get banished, the threat level of that's much lower. So, all right, Shing has full knowledge about this hand, and I think he's holding the Iron Song Determination. Interesting. So I guess he's gonna arsenal that, and then so he's probably gonna play out his arsenal plus. Okay, interesting. Okay, so he could have played the Iron Song Determination for 1 value, chose not to. Maybe fatigue is a little bit of a concern. Ooh, Iron Song Pride. That is a card that I think is actually quite good against new. This
play is just so strong with the blade hitting, and then you get to go levels.
Yep.
And it just you get to go again anyway, so you get to draw a free card or push damage, whichever you prefer, depending on the hand. And it's just such a strong spot. Ooh. And unfortunately, there's not a window where he can mask. That would be like too good, obviously, but kind of like he can new. That is a possibility. He can basically just
get another card.
Respond while it's on this, just to get another mode if it was necessary, but that's probably pretty rare.
Okay, Dorinthea falls below the new in the life totals. Got a Siren's Call in the hand now. Art of Desire Mind, I believe. Yeah, we see the blue across her face, so that is Art of Desire Mind. And we got to play the guessing game. Is it going to be a pump? Is it going to be Siren's Call? Is it going to be Mask? Well, bad news, Bears, is that it's going to be Mask and Siren's Call. So
on the next episode.
Now the good thing is he doesn't have a blue.
Right.
Okay, goodbye to Route. And that's another card that I think Shing probably should have got a count on. And looks like he's just okay. That's a high level play there. Seeing how quick that he discarded the Route, I think Shing got a read that maybe he doesn't have a blue. Because if you had a blue, Route is actually one of the premium cards to keep, especially with Courage of Blade Hold still up.
Right.
All right. As you can see, the like Nathan said, the zones are merely suggestions. Shing
Just
has
suggestions.
slowly been creeping towards the combat chain line. See, he pushed it again.
It's a great way to assert dominance. It
Yep.
is a great way.
All right, Iron Song Determination swing. Okay, he did have a blue. My bad. Okay, so this is we know he has Iron Song Pride in hand. Now, this play does not get blown out by a D-React. So there's that. All right, we got a Chi. Siren's Call. I think that's a sink below. And looks like going to deploy the Iron Song Pride. Fate Foreseen going to match this. Now, the only thing that would work here is drop in the ocean, which would have been the worst feeling in the world. All right, so Roderick now has a +1 counter on the weapon and has a 5-card hand. But Shing is going to get to mess with that a little bit with his 4 cards. Interesting. Going to double pitch into the Misblade. No blocks. Siren's Call.
Oh, get to look at that hand. Just the value of looking into the hand against Dorinthea specifically.
Yep.
Even if there's no
Iron
blue.
Song responses. Yep. An Unsheathed, which is very good here. An Agile Engagement, also very good. This hand is actually cannot be disrupted properly. Because I think that's a second blue Iron Song response. Even if it isn't, he has Courage of Blade Hold. So this is actually an excellent hand. An excellent, excellent hand. Going to take the Scale Peeler into Codex into... Now he has potential to go for a 1-cost thing, but I think it's going to be Leave with No Witnesses.
He could go for levels and get all 3 modes. That is a line, but leave CNC.
Oh, he has 1 floater. Okay.
Is a little good. It is a little good.
Both modes active. Okay, so this is unfortunately going to cause the whole turn to fall apart.
Oh, that's actually a red hiss. Yeah, so levels wouldn't make sense.
And all right, so pushing the Dawnblade forward, the frailty means that this is only coming in for 3. Shing with the D-React, just gonna have to give a single card. Not even gonna have to think too hard about things. Denying Reprise as well. Now he only gets punished by Blade Flurry. And goodbye to the Iron Song Pride. And all right, we got levels, Fate Foreseen, Surgical, and I believe maybe a Chi card. Surgical Extraction. I think Shing knows that this is extremely, extremely strong because he got to look at Roderick's deck, probably saw no Sinks and Fates, so he knows he's going to get the armor plus a card or 2 cards, depending on how... It looks like there's a Twinning Blade and a Sharpened Steel. So this could just be a 2-card block.
And it's just such a tough spot because you can block like that if you want, but then they could grain that tips the scale, or they could do what they're doing right now. Or they could just say, okay, you got it, and then just mask, and then you lose another card that you intended on playing. And it's a really tough spot.
Second Twinning Blade
playing against new without D-Reacts is one of the most uncomfortable places to be in Fab.
Yep, we saw that he did have Snag, but this is This is not going to be easy. I think Shing is going to need to brick a little bit for there to be any chance. Weakest link, one of the... Now, you might think on the surface, yeah, this card's useless against Dorinthea. She has blocking cards. But, well, you still have to reveal your whole hand, which is really bad. Also, we saw Iron Song Pride in the graveyard currently. They could be another one in the deck, and he might have drawn it, so even more reason to block. Now, there's something interesting, Nathan. That card at Arsenal has been there forever.
Mm-hmm.
And there were several situations where he could use it. I think Shing knows that's snag. I don't even know if it's snag, but like the amount of time that has passed that he might have used snag on the surgical.
Yeah, I would have used it on the surgical, right?
Yeah, that's not it. Okay, 3 Warriors Valors revealed.
It's a lot of valor.
That is a lot of valor, but he's gonna IP himself because none of those valors were blue, so he can't even play 2 valors and swing. But I guess here he's asking, like, hey, if you really want to keep your hand, okay, I can extract a little bit of value by swinging again. So I think Shing, with full knowledge, is very happy just to block a bit. And there we go. And Yellow Iron Sword response makes an appearance again.
Over by 1.
Yep. And gonna swing again.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We talked about it the other day.
Yep.
The best way to know how Nu's going to disrupt you is by getting cards from her and trying to figure out what she's blocking with.
Exactly. And this 2-card hand would not be great for Nu. I think there was a Codex and a Bonds, and then a Attraction, if I'm correct.
And this is why Shing is one of the best, is because he thought about blocking with Bonds of Agony, which 99% of the time is so much better than the other card that he's thinking about blocking with, which is Bonds of Attraction. And the reason he's thinking about that is he's asking himself, how many reactions have I used, and what is the actual probability of me turning this card on?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not turned on, then the other card's definitely better. And so that's what he's currently weighing, because he's definitely going to block with 1. Mm-hmm. And that's just why he's the best, is he's just weighing that out and trying to figure it out.
Yep. Okay. Bonds of Attraction. Looks like he's going to value it the other way around, but having a think. All right, Roderick gonna drop, and Bond's gonna send the Mistblade over.
Oh, he missed his tunic. Oh, there it is.
Okay. Maybe he verbalized it. All good. Okay. All right, Mistblade hits. Now Codex into... Well...
Should just be Leave No Witness, right?
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
He has... going for levels. Oh yeah, the Mistblade did hit. Okay, interesting. So you could choose a draw card. But you have a Ponder token. Looks like it's just going to go for damage. Okay.
Did he block with a Fate Foreseen and like knows what's on top?
Yes.
By chance?
Yes, he did.
Oh, now this makes sense. So he knows there's a 0 cost on top and he's going to rip it. What if it's another one, Josh? Another Codex?
Have you ever played 2 Codexes in one turn? Oh my goodness.
Never could even dream of it.
Only things Nu can do. That's why she's viable and living legend. She's that strong. Now, this is actually interesting. I wonder if Roderick... That was a Fate Foreseen there, so... Is he going to pick up on this very weird line?
It's very telling that top card is either very important in Arsenal, like it's a D-react. Well, no, because he's going to draw it off the Ponder anyway. So he is Wait.
Well, it's in Arsenal now.
All right. Okay.
We'll find out what it is, hopefully, before the end of the game. I think we might have saw Sigil in...
Oh, he was just getting the value from Beckoning Mistblade, because it comes in for 6 then.
Yeah.
So he's just valuing the 2 damage more than the Leave No Witness. That makes sense.
Yeah, there was no Arsenal anyways, yeah. So that makes sense.
Of course. Okay. Of course.
So we see a little bit of life gain in the Nu's hand. Weakest Link. Some other cards. He's flicking too fast. I can't quite tell. All right. Looks like Shing happy to take some damage to send back this mystery 5-card hand. And that's not a card you want to see when your opponent has 5 cards. uh, blocking with a Dorinthea picture card, generally a sign you're losing. Passover. Now, there's no shunt. Emboldened Blade's useless, so just gonna take out a Warrior's Valor. Sure. That's 1 extra damage on one of Shing's weapons later in the game. Alright. Gonna activate Mask, tear this hand apart further. Goodbye, spoils, it looks like. And yeah, bad news keeps on coming.
And get the hit.
Just a nick. And
it's just such a tough spot to be in. I mean, you're losing 3 cards because you can't not block it, right? And then Josh, we haven't even got to the part where Shing's going to gain life, depending on what was blocked with, what's banished off the top of the deck, depending on what's banished out of hand. I mean,
okay, there's a stack. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
This gets
the
way
bleeding
better.
has sort of stopped. Still going to banish the Supremacy because of New's ability, and going to gain 3 life. Didn't he have a sigil? Did I miss something? Huh. Maybe I missed something. All right. Weakest link. Gonna block. And gonna use Tunic, Pitch, and swing the Mistblade. Now, ooh, okay. So this is gonna have go again. Ardent Desire, Mind. Looking for blues on the top of the deck. Now, we know that Shing has 1 D-React in hand. And, oh, the best attack react. I don't know if it's the best attack react in the game. I mean, Rout's going to have something to say about that. But
Yep. He draws a card and gains a life, I believe.
Yep. Going to banish an Unsheathed as well. And come in with Leave No Witness. Oh, no.
Jeez.
This is rough. Now
and
the life
still has an arsenal.
Yeah, and the life deficit now has grown to high enough that I think this is going to be very, 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 very difficult to climb out of this hole, especially against a world-class player like Shing. All right, 2 cards blocking the Leave No Witnesses. Another sign that you're generally losing. Warrior's Valor, swing, pitching a snag. No doubt Shing sees that. And he's at the life total where he's like, sure, take 5, take 3, have your counter. I'm gonna play this 5-card hand. But you know, he could be disciplined and block a little bit.
I mean, Josh, is there any way that Dorinthea can have a solid chance into new being on the really, really aggressive game plan? I feel like with news tools to be able to look into the hand and
the threat level, yeah, the threat level of Dorinthea is never high enough to convince the new. When she draws a good hand, she can always keep it. It's the issue at the moment. Like,
right.
Literally the only hand that might force New to block is a Supremacy Glistening turn. Like, oh, she's like, okay, I'll block. Like, even a Supremacy Valor turn, the New could, like, disrespect that if she really wanted to. And I think there's, like, about 20 cards left in the Dorinthea's deck. So this is A bad sign. I don't know if Yellow Iron Song response is going to cut it in 2025, Nathan.
You don't think so?
No.
A 1 card too? Come
Yeah,
on,
what?
Josh. That's situational.
I mean, the whole point is to extract the value out of swinging again, but not so easy.
There's just so many D-react. I mean, Josh, Viscerai is playing 6 D-reacts, right?
Yeah.
Aurora
Yeah.
is playing anywhere between 3 to 6, depending on, the list. I mean, Zen can be playing upwards of 12, depending on I mean, there's just so many D-reacts in the format right now, which is, I mean, obviously why you've taken your decks more in the defensive approach, because she just doesn't have the tools right now to combat that type of metagame right now.
Yeah, I think, some people have said, Josh, you're the most patient Dorinthea player I've ever seen. I'm like, well, that's because if you play, I don't want to say like this, but if you play very, very aggressively and you play against a world-class player, that's not going to work.
Right.
World-class players can identify the threat level of your turn and then decide whether or not they want to block. And well, that's a good play. I mean, Emboldened Blade hitting sink below, that feels good. But I just think, like, as soon as your opponent has, if your opponent has 0 to 3 D reacts, you can play aggressively. But as soon as they have 6, it really, you take a giant gamble when you play very aggressively. Like, an analogy that I've started to use is that Dorinthea's, like, Iron Song response is the original up the ante. It is extremely risky to go for, or maybe Singing Steelblade is the original up the ante. Like, it's very risky to go Singing Steelblade and try to grab Glint or try to grab, a 0 for 3 or whatever. Because if they have a D-react, well, they punish you. Now, here's the interesting thing. Shing's deck is not very large either. But the thing is, the life lead is so high now. It still has Mask as well.
Yeah, I think with Mask and the new hero ability where they can just mill you, I don't think, being at 28, I don't think the number of cards new has is even a consideration. As long as they have like a functional amount of cards.
Yep. Now, one thing that this Dorinthea has been doing the whole game has been preserving the Courage of Blade hold. So now without the bolters, it does become a bit weaker. Or not a bit, a lot weaker. But I think maybe Roderick's trying to set up a Twinning Blade turn. He probably still has 1 left in his deck. We know that 2 of them are in the Banish Zone right now. Shing having a real think about this this play and says, I'm going to disrespect your Emboldened Valor Dawnblade. And gonna swing again for 3 on hit. +1. Now this is actually interesting because he could have blocked 7 on the first one instead. Like, so there's 3 options. You either block on the first one, you block on the second one, or you don't block. And it looks like Shing has chosen the 3rd path, which does give Roderick some information. Now, this would be a good turn to have a D-react or a snag, but I don't think he has either one of those. Now, we know both decks are running out of gas. And funnily enough, I think there's actually like some Blue Iron Songs in the Banish Zone, so I think the threat of blocking any of the weapons now is quite high.
I think the next time that he naturally just draws a chi, right? Because you can't ever transcend and do that because you have to play the blue card preceding it. But the next time he just draws a regular chi, I think he's just going to go and get the probably what's 4 or 5 value.
Yeah. There's not a ton of value in the blues for Dorinthea, but grab the Valor, play the responses, etc. So Speaking of Valors, I think he has a blue Valor that he was considering blocking with.
That's the wrong
Yeah,
thing to do against
that-
this card specifically, because when
yeah.
it banishes blues, they gain life
Yeah.
and draw cards.
Yeah.
So, but if you block with your reds, guess what? That's a red you're not throwing at her, and
Yep.
it makes the fatigue problem even worse. So this card is actually a lot better than it lets on to be.
Yep. Okay, well, blue Valor gonna block and leave no witnesses. Gonna force another block or two. He has a Dombling counter though right now. I don't like that double block on the Art of Desire Mind.
I'm not a fan either. I feel like you're far enough behind to where you just have to, you know.
Having to read the hero card.
Oh.
But that's the judge. Okay. So I believe Shing missed his trigger. Because he did put the leave no witnesses on the combat chain. So that is a missed trigger there. So the Valor is not going to be banished, and it's not going to get a life. Yep. So if I had to guess, that is Judge Oscar watching. One of the best judges in the game. Always watching.
Always watch.
Okay, looks like looks like Valor did get discarded. Okay, maybe that's the whole new rewind rule. I don't know. Okay, so leave no witnesses. This hand does not function properly without. Yeah, I'm really wondering why was he afraid of just the dick? Like,
it had to be, which I mean, he's already played 2. We are deep down into the game though, so I mean, seeing the third is not crazy. But I mean, you're so far behind. I don't think you have the opportunity to even think about playing around it.
Yep, I agree. Grain that tips scale. Gonna tip the scales. Oh no. Gonna lose agile.
That's gonna strip every
goodbye,
single card.
Deal 1 damage as well. Gonna banish the top card.
Mill the deck. I mean, it's just,
that was bad. That was
and then
good.
the silver. The silver's not innocent. You can always pitch a blue. You could pitch a blue to get an extra blue for levels. I mean, there's so many things you can do with it. You could just find better cards. I mean,
we got one of those infamous no blocks in hand. And here we go, another Desires of Flesh. Now, this is a card that I don't see this in every new list, but looks like, there's one of the pitch zone, one of the combat chains, so Shing must like them. And blocking with your reds when you have 10 cards left. Oh boy. I believe that was Rising Sun Setting Moon that he's resolving right now. Gonna mask again. Goodbye, Singing Steelblade. Command and Conquer. Doesn't matter that he has no... he has 2 no blocks at hand. The game's over.
Yep. That's enough to do it.
Didn't even have to show him. Shing was like, possibly he knew that there was 2 no blocks at hand because he did pitch those together. All right. Well, that was a pretty good game there. Very aggressive Dorinthea. Trying to get the job done against New. Not going to cut it this time. Well played from Shing, as always. And any thoughts on the game, Nathan?
I think it went about how I expected. Just that disruption being a little bit too much, looking in the hand one too many times. Always knowing what the possibilities are, having the D reacts for when you don't have that ability to look into their hand, ripping those hands apart, basically reducing the options that Dorinthea has, which is kind of like her power is not knowing what she can do. When you mask a card away and you leave no witness, it really reduces those options and makes it pretty transparent.
Yep. This is one of the reasons why I believe you should just take New to second cycle in general. Now there's kind of a balancing act. You can't just block, or you get destroyed by the mix-ups. But
Mm-hmm.
you apply pressure in smaller amounts. You don't go for 5-card hands. You say, all right, I'm happy just to play my 1, 2, 3-card hand and take it to second cycle. As soon as she plays the stir the pot, like really start watching the pitch stack carefully, because there will be a situation where you have an opening.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll also be able to tell probably by turn 10 whether they're on sync fate or just sync, because there are some lists that run just sync. And you'll also be able to tell, like, are they running any other D reacts, like that's all you got or whatever. So you should have a good sense of that by the mid late game and can kind of go from there. So all right, pretty good game. All right, on to the next game. What's up, guys? Welcome back to round number 5 of the Hong Kong Battle Hardened 2025. Right now we have 2 excellent Aurora players, both of them currently undefeated. On the side with no playmat is the one, the only, the brother of another mother, Alan Lau. Got top 4 at the World Championship in Osaka. On the other side, we have Carlo, who I believe is visiting Hong Kong. And, if you're in Hong Kong during the Battle Hardened, might as well play in the Battle Hardened. And he's been doing quite well. And, well, Nathan, this is a Aurora mirror. You have infinite more knowledge than me on this, so why don't you tell me a little bit about this? First thing that's sticking out is completely different equipment choices.
Yes. And so, first of all, what an amazing start to CLV and make an embodiment.
Hold on. Also, Carlos doesn't have a weapon. What is going on?
Yeah, he might need to flip that over.
Yeah, he might need to flip that over. Anyways.
It's obviously there,
yeah,
but
it's obviously there, yeah. Okay,
so the train of thought for the different headpieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is face purgatory obviously means that the Aurora is probably on a couple more non-attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the, of course, burn up shock like we're looking at now.
Yeah.
But maybe a couple more mixed in there to kind of increase the probability. Talking cards like sizzle and things like
sizzle.
That. But balance of justice is actually very interesting because a lot of people don't know, but if you draw 2 cards due to your hit effects, you can pop it.
Wait. What?
It does not say that your opponent has to draw.
What?
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, that's crazy.
I'm gonna double check this. This.
Huh.
We're gonna do a fact check real quick.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take it away on the play-by-play. So we saw the E-Strike getting blocked by Burn Up Shock and the Carapace and the Grasp. Alan.
Okay. I'm wrong. It says if an opponent has drawn 2 or more cards.
All right.
Okay.
That's why I haven't seen it. Okay. Still a good card though.
What I meant to say was, in a match like this, the mirror, if your opponent draws 2 cards off of like a CLV or something like that, you have the ability to pop it. And then there's also cards like there's a lot of D-reacts of the format if somebody double sync blows, or there's still a lot of, even though Art of War is out of the format and they took a lot of the books out as well, there are a lot of ways to kind of still get value. Me personally, I'm on the Crown of Providence train, just because I really like that consistency and being able to avoid CNCs, because that is definitely a problem. But I think it's just a flavor kind of thing. And then the chest piece, some people take comfort in the tunic. I am more a believer in just getting more block value, because Aurora has a lot of on hits that you really want to be stopping.
Both players running just a little bit of AB against each other, right? Diatic Carapace is AB2. So you'd have to pitch a yellow to that. Am I correct on that? Is that the temper piece, or am I crazy?
Which one are you referring to?
I'm referring to Alan's chess piece.
Yes, that is the temper with AB.
Right. Okay. So he has AB in the chest. I guess
AB2.
Yeah, AB2, which is weird. Yeah.
That is just there for the block. You get 2 extra block compared to Tunic, so he's valuing 2 more block over the resource Tunic count, which makes sense because the average Tunic counter is worth a sword swing in Aurora,
right?
Which is 2 value. And, is the game going to go 6 turns? Probably not. And if it does, you still have to factor in the on hit that you stopped with the carapace. So it really just depends on how quickly you plan to play this game.
And Alan with a live scar for scar. And Carlos going to take 4. So I think Alan has a lightning press in hand. He revealed it off the rebel. So now this hand doesn't look that great. Current funnel, lightning surge, which you once said arsenal. Do you just press the scar?
I think. Well, he already took damage. I think Alan had every intention to do so because the optimal play would definitely be to press it, and then you sword swing, make an embodiment arsenal the surge.
Yeah.
But I think he simply forgot to, which means your only other option is to play the lightning surge, then just
put the current funnel.
Well, you don't want to arsenal current funnel. So what he's going to do is play that and then just activate Aurora at the end of the turn.
Okay.
And then arsenal the press. Or disregard everything I just said. Well, it's just current funnel is a little risky. It does depend on.
What?
Oh yeah, Sigil is so good in Aurora because you can 2-card 7 snatch on hit with Gone in a Flash, right? Because you play Gone in a Flash, you play Sigil, it bounces it back to your hand.
Yeah. That's right.
So you got 7 value, and then you even get a card back. So it's insane amount of value. It just is another no block, and Aurora already has a lot of those. So a lot of lists are on at least 2, but some like 3, and I've seen them as low as 1 as well.
Okay. Interesting. Well, this turn's going to start off with a Arc Lightning, one of Aurora's specializations. And going to play an Arcanic Shockwave. Going to fuse it with the second strike, I presume. Yep, there we go. Going to ping. Okay, looks like just going to take both the pings and take all the physical damage. Gonna Tunic Starfall. Alan says, send me the bill. And Rabble gonna reveal Sink Below into second strike. And does he have a follow-up from Arsenal? No. Well, this looks like gonna be a pretty fast game, Nathan. The Tunic just hit 3, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I favor the extra block. I mean, that's just how this. You don't have enough block in your deck to really slow it down at all. I have seen some more defensively oriented ones, but
now,
go ahead.
One of the plays that I was like introduced to was CLV with Sigil of Suffering, but I don't think either player is running Sigil of Suffering in this mirror, right? Or is it good enough?
Depending on what you would side out, I think it is. And it's not for the CLV. I think it's just for the raw value of usually you're getting 5 value off of it, and you're stopping their on hit, which is arguably more. The problem is against Aurora, it's very dangerous because if you are using it to stop an on hit, you're giving them agency to stop it, because a lot of people do run the Lightning Greaves, like Carlo is, that does have AB1 on it, so they do have the option. 99% of the time, they're not going to pitch for it, but sometimes you just never know and they'll reduce it down to 3, and it'll actually connect.
Yep. And the tunic could also help pay for the AB in the CLV situation.
Absolutely.
Yep. Carlos has to make a big decision. Is he going to attempt to block out this turn? I believe he has. So we see a sink below, lightning surge, and all that, and we know that one of Alan's cards is not offensive. So there was the possibility for sure to block out this turn. So I think he's gonna have to snap into, or he didn't have to snap because current front will give a go again. So this is on hit draw, on hit burn up shock. So I think he's highly incentivized to block this. Grasp plus a card. It's the cleanest block. I think if Alan had a press, he would have used it on the first snatch. So good read there. Okay. Back to Carlo. Or Carlos. I'm not sure which one. I'm sorry. 2-card hand plus an arsenal. Pretty even life totals right now. Looks like this is going to be Grasp into Lightning Surge. And not the most efficient turn. Alan taking all the damage. Going to strike back with this hand that has Arc Lightning. We know he has a Gone and a Flash as well.
And that's one of the hardest things about playing Aurora is, if you notice on the previous turn, they decided to pitch for Grasp instead of activating Aurora because they did play a Lightning card and they could have done it at the end of the turn. Really just understanding the game state and knowing when you need to value setting up more in like kind of brick prevention or just creating a safety net versus just pushing more value. And that's one of the most difficult things about playing the deck for sure.
An excellent use of resources. Starfall coming in for 2+1. Grasp gonna make a rune chant and ping down to 7, and then he's gonna finish with the Gone and a Flash, or he's gonna arsenal that. Looks like he's going to arsenal it, if I had to guess. So what would you do in this situation, Nathan? Would you play it out, put him at 3?
I don't think there's any value over
sending the rune chant immediately. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you have the attack, you go ahead, and the reason is if you draw the next hand and you don't have a go again source, you just go ahead. Or you kind of like keeping that arsenal open is very important if you're not making embodiments, right? Because you want to get max value out of every hand.
Right.
So I do like sending the Gone and the Flash for sure.
That's a very, very important point that's not obvious to some players, is that have it like if you draw the next hand and you can't utilize all the cards from it, you don't really want to be blocking with your 2 blocks. So you might as well use your life as a buffer, block with anything that's relevant, use as much as you can, and then arsenal maybe the 4th card. So,
but if you have a very conditional card in arsenal, that makes it way more difficult. Now, if this was a rabble or a lightning surge or something like that, that was fluid no matter what, then it's just kind of player's choice. You know, you're just kind of playing to, do you think you're going to draw a CLV and be able to push it a lot more at this life total? I don't think that matters. But it's just a kind of a preference thing at this point. But because it's a card that doesn't have go again, I think you have to throw it.
Is there any world where I won't say Nathan. Is there any world where Aurora, Alan Lau, uses Snapdragons, puts him at 1?
Does he have one floating?
He does. I mean, he already attacked with the weapon, right? So it's...
Oh, you're talking about just to gain the go again and ping for 1.
Yeah, with the arc lightning.
I think there is. I think there is, and the reason is what you can do is create the game state of pitching grasp,
And then
so you
swing.
convert any blue
Mhm.
into basically getting two cards out of the
yeah.
opponent's hand. So, I would be in favor of using the Snapdragons if it put them to 1. If it did not, I would keep them.
Yep.
So if we see some blocks here, hang on to it. If not,
So
especially with the long thought, right? Because
Yep.
because they're thinking for so long, there's not a D react.
yeah,
And that's why I love to tell newer players the time it takes to make a decision is almost more important than the decision you make.
Yep. I would like to see a tunic block from Carlos. It being at 1, there's a chance it can get to 3. I think if the tunic's on 0, you definitely throw it.
I 100% agree, but because it's on 1, I think it's his current win con. I think that's getting that last bit of value on maybe
no
like
blocks.
an.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Gonna go to
that
1.
makes it a little. And Alan agrees.
Now, he only took 4 damage.
Yep, needs to take one more because the go again resolves. But he does have the opportunity to pitch for the AB. So, but that's a whole card, and that's probably not going to happen. But
Yep. All right, here we go. 5 card hand from our Aurora player.
this is a
Arcanic
great turn.
Shockwave with a somersault.
Oh, with the somersault. Okay.
Allowing the somersault to convert into any of the cards, which is nice.
And then he has a scar. He can then go scar and then somersault the scar.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good way to claw your way back in. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough because Alan does have access to 4 block in the armor. And also, as soon as Alan's going to win this game by that card that we can see in his hand, he's going to wait till his opponent plays every card and then just shock him for 1 damage on his turn. So it's very unfortunate that he does have that card. So Alan just is going to jam the armor right here probably to just keep the life total as high as possible. And because he has every intention on blocking to just shock for game.
And we see Rabble and Somersault. So, and Alan already knows one of the cards in hand. And yeah. I think Alan knows that he's won right now.
Yeah.
Because even if it's a lightning press or anything like that, you can still respond to everything. So here comes Scar again. I think you jam the armor.
Yep.
Although technically you don't need to. The only thing that would kill you is you go for a burn up shock, and then in response they... No, that still doesn't work because the Scar has to hit. Yeah. All right. There's some of it. Gonna keep the Carapace, it looks like, just in case.
Yeah, you can keep it as an emergency AB. I don't hate it. Because there's no on hit here, right? Like it's just 1 damage and then you're gonna take another one. So it's not. And technically, if there was any surprises, they would have to close the chain. Right.
Yep.
They're taking 1 from the arcane, and then as soon as the Rabble's played, in response, shock for game.
Yep.
Did he see it?
What? He didn't play it?
He read it.
Wow. That is impressive.
Now,
I mean, it doesn't do anything, but that was very impressive. Wow.
Did he reveal it on a Rabble or something? I must have missed that. Or that's a really good play.
That's a soul read there, I guess. That's
because that Rabble was worth 5 because of Arc Lightning. Very well done. Because it was kind of a little bit sus that Alan just reached in for the armor and kind of gave it up really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was what tipped it off.
Yeah.
Whereas if he would have blocked with cards, maybe it's a little different. But this is going to end it anyway, if I'm not mistaken.
GG.
So, but I'll give it to that was
really good.
A lot of just heads up to not play that out because 90% of people would have just ripped it because it's 0 cost. It has go again, go.
Yep.
But held it back and lived a half a turn more.
Yep. I mean, there's a reason both of them were undefeated going into the round. Well, Alan proceeds to go 5-0 at the moment, so very likely he's going to make top 8. And yeah, this is this mirror was pretty interesting actually. There was a lot of no blocking, but there was a lot of sequencing and extracting as much value. So pretty good game. All right, the next 2 games are going to be brought to you guys by other members of the Card Guys, but we will be back for the quarterfinals. So we'll see you then. Bye bye.
Hey man, did you get the KO deck in Worlds? No one's doing that, okay?
Current to play the whole horse down. Don't scale him again. Put him in the middle for now. That's perfect. All right, next year.
Hard hand champion.
We're gonna have to order a couple more.
Roll it, my girl. You love it when you bend and roll it. Now let me roll it.